Controlling your mind when everything falls apart is probably the biggest leverage you're ever going to get in today's day and age, especially with things like AI and everything that's going on right now. Okay, so my name is Matt Doe, and today I want to take you through the importance of controlling your mind, especially when things are not going to plan. Okay, so I come across a lot of people, and a lot of times the issue is a lot of the people I speak to are lost, or they were someone and then for some reason whatever's been taken away has removed the stability they had within. Okay, and the only reason why I can help them is because I've pretty much witnessed that in my personal life, in every single scenario. In relationship, 5 heartbreaks. Business wise, I've lost 100k. I've been fired for being overqualified. I've started businesses and invoices have not been returned, and overnight I had to sort of wrap my head around the fact that there was just no stability in anything else but me. Okay, so I have watched my life crumble thousands of times. I went through depression, and one thing that I always resonated with growing up is I was this kid that was just misunderstood all the time. Okay, I grew up in Italy, born there, but I just felt like no one really understood me to a certain extent. I kind of had to understand people more than they needed to understand me, and that led me to never really feeling accepted. I had great friends, and I still have people that I speak to when I go out there, and it's cool, it's great. Like I'm not saying I was this miserable guy that never had any sort of friends, no. But in terms of understanding, I just felt like it was a privilege. I was so misunderstood growing up, and in my family, I was kind of like the black sheep. Didn't agree with a lot of things, especially when it comes to being bullied by ghosts. That there, till this day, rubs me the wrong way. I grew up being told that because I was left-handed, I was almost like a outcast. It's like, why would you do that? Why are you left-handed? That's so weird. And it's like, I'm sorry, I didn't know that was such a, if I'd known, I'd have done something different. Yeah, so growing up, quite misunderstood, and again, that didn't change until I realized that it's actually a superpower. That being misunderstood allows the people I'm around to make me want to understand them more, because it's like this lonely place where you want to understand how to connect with people better. So it almost kind of gave me this introspective outlook of life and things, because I was just like, well, if I can't figure out what these people are doing or what they want, then maybe there's a way I can figure it out. I said, I don't think I'd be here if I was understood, to be honest. And I think my mission is to help other misunderstood people understand themselves and understand others too. And I think because of that process, I've been able to understand people and understand the people that need to be understood. Cool. So to take it back to this, so how does it connect with this, right? I think watching things fall apart is kind of like my expertise now. As like I build like a whole talk around it, and it's called anti-fragility. It's the fact that you're able to look at what ruined you and ask yourself, how can I utilize this to make me stronger? And the concept actually came from Dragon Ball Z. I'm a big fan of it, big fan of anime. Of course, the title for Song Jiwar. And the concept really is the fact that there's this thing they do that is like the failure is just part of the journey. It's never the end. It's never like a pivot. In fact, sometimes it's the fire, the ignition. Never mind, I'm probably going to crop that. But it's just that thing you needed to just set things on fire and go for the very thing you believe you needed to achieve, right? So that's pretty much what I'd say on this, right? And you're probably in that space where I guess you've seen how the very thing that made you stable and comfortable is now being taken away from you. I was in a call earlier today, one of my clients, and he asked me a question, and he was like, I want to become stable again. That was the question he asked, and I was like, okay, that's cool. Well, first of all, it's not that you're not stable. is that you've given your stability away to things that are unpredictable. And what I've seen a lot of people do, which I did too, is the stability comes from finance, it comes from their relationship, it comes from their job title, their status, it comes from their faith, it comes from everything but themselves. And the problem with that being the case is that when any of these things are taken away, so is your stability. I grew up in being an atheist, and then I decided to believe in God through life events, how my sister was born and etc. However, because that was part of my identity, I couldn't fathom how there could be loopholes to this, right? I couldn't accept that. And when those loopholes left me no option but to dig in deeper, guess what I done? I became lost again. I was unstable. Why? Because the very thing I had stabilized myself around was taken away from me. It's almost like this is us, and the palm is whatever we value. So if someone values having a hefty bank account to feel stable, guess what happens when this is taken away? They crash and burn. So whatever is utilized to stabilize you, once it's taken away, will destabilize you. It's as simple as that. So the key here is, how do I put myself in a position where nothing that I don't own can destabilize me? And I'm glad you asked. You probably didn't ask, but this is a beautiful diagram. I'm not sure. It's from a previous video, so don't mind me. Okay, I'm fine. I'm gonna stop being lazy. I'm gonna rewrite this. There we go. No, I'm not gonna do it. Fine. You got me. I'll do it. So, stability. Is there a song called Stability? Anyways, never mind. So stability, right? Don't worry. I'll put the picture on it so that you can see it yourself. So stability. Stability equals what keeps you grounded. Okay. The equation needs to be, the question you need to ask yourself is, what can no one, and it's gonna sound very unchristian like, but not even God can take away from me. Do you know what? Actually, I'm gonna take that diversion here. So the moment you anchor yourself to something that no one can take away from you, your stability increases by 1,000x, which is unheard of. But I need you to understand that had someone told me this when I was losing money, when I was having my heartbreaks, when I was dealing with grief, when I was dealing with all sorts of things. They don't teach us this in school, right? I had someone that told me this simple diagram. Yeah, stability. What can no one take away from me? And by the way, this doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to appreciate your life. Okay, so this is you. And then from there, family, bang. Money, bang. What else matters to most men? Health, bang. Faith, bang. Strength, bang. Whatever, bang. So your stability right here, it's something that no one gets to remove from you, because you're the only person that gave that to yourself. And you can extrapolate this to respect, influence, confidence, discipline, you name it. Anything you don't want anyone to take away from you, you give it to your damn self first. You do that. Faith, stable. Family, what's this one? What is that? Can you tell me what that is? I think it's family, right? No, it's not. Health, stable, right? Money, stable. Family, stable. Bang, stable. And what the heck is that? Strength, stable. So in other words, you create a permanent circle, right? So we're even going to do the arrows so you can understand. Okay, I promise you, what you're going to start to see is that everything else stabilizes around it. And what stabilizes means is, with or without you, I'm going to be okay. That your future self, okay, so I study a lot of quantum science and all of that stuff and law of attraction. So your future self doesn't need you to see before it becomes, right? Because you've given yourself the stability. You've created 100% ownership around your stability. Your stability is yours to own. Your decision, ownership. Ownership, right? So you create this bubble, right? Give yourself the ownership, 100% ownership. You're the CEO, the captain, the director of this world of yours, right? And everything flows from there. I promise you, when things, because look, and this is as simple as it gets, right? If this is off, guess what? You're still stable. If this is off, guess what? You're still off, stable, off, stable, off, stable, off, stable. Bang. Why? Because what you have now made your anchor to stability, whether it's there or not, is stable. Now that's what the recalibration is pretty much all about. Understanding how to stabilize yourself without needing anything else to work out. Okay? And that there, it's a game changer, because had I done that, there's so many things that wouldn't have ruined me, right? So the question is, what can no one take away from me? Okay? That's the question you got to ask yourself, and you only know the answer to that. But once you understand that and you extrapolate that, I promise you, your identity is going to have a solid grounding. So that's step one. Step two is understanding the direction you want to take. Again, very same conversation I was having with the client. The clarity that you gain from taking steps can only be established once you understand where you were heading to in the first place. Have you ever drove a car and had no idea where you were going? Right? Making the wrong turn makes you hesitate in taking the decision at all. So by default, instead of, you see, our brain is lazy. So instead of you having an idea of turn left, turn right, and blah, 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 guess what happens? You now start to try to figure things out based on what everybody else is doing, which is what 99% of people are doing out there. So when you don't have a grounded identity, number two becomes flexible. And because it's flexible, your destination is flexible. And what that means is your partner can't trust you, you can't trust yourself, your team can't trust you. Listen, if there's one thing as a leader you need to trust and believe people would definitely not trust you with, is you constantly switching lanes. You second guessing yourself. This is the only time being rigid actually works to your benefit. And I'm not saying being rigid as in stick to one decision and that's it. No, I'm saying believe that the decision you're making is the correct one, or even if it isn't, it's the true one. And the way you do that is by, number 2, analyzing the both out. So set a destination and then have a clear view of both positives and negatives. So set a destination. For instance, I am going to Jamaica, right? The funny thing about how your brain works is that by the time that mind has been set towards something, guess what's going to start happening? You're going to start to see signs. Oh, turn left to Jamaica. Have you noticed how sometimes when you're on the motorway, just because you have a location in mind, even if the GPS no longer works, guess what? You're kind of going to figure out how to get to where you want to get to once it's clear that is where you're going. Why? You're going to ask questions, right, to strangers. You're going to watch for signs. Your brain, in other words, is going to try to prove that you can indeed get to where you've decided to get. So this is why it's key for you to be clear on your destination, so that every decision you make may not be the right one, but is the true one and is aligned towards the goal you want to achieve. So that's step number 2. So that's how, personally, controlling your mind when everything falls apart gets you still running the show. Number 3, I need you to understand something. No tree that can withstand the test of time, okay? No tree that can withstand the test of time hasn't been developed in hell first. Every tree goes down first before it goes up, because it has to ground the rules, establish the rules. Listen, say what you want about what I've just made here, but depression and everything I learned in life I didn't learn this through the books. This was when this was off, I had to create an alternative. When this was off, I had to create an alternative. When this was off, I had to create an alternative. So at some point I realized that, you know what? Maybe the problem isn't them. Maybe my life isn't so miserable because of them. Maybe it's the simple fact that I keep allowing my stability to be dependent on things that I have no outcome or way of controlling. So how about, instead of allowing myself to be swayed every single time things don't go to plan, I create a system that stops me from being swayed, full stop. I don't want to be swayed. I want to be present, but I don't want to be swayed. And I'd argue and say that a lot of people that think that they're cold, calculated and detached, it's only because this or this or this is it. Once they all go, guess what happens? Boom, you fall apart. That's what happened to me. My stability was there because I felt that, you know what? As long as I can see that women are interested in me, that's okay. And then when women weren't interested in me, or my ex broke up with me, or this happened and this happened, my stability left me. Oh my gosh, I don't even know who I am anymore. A lot of you guys, again, that's tied financially, or that's tied to your career. Once that goes, who are you? Okay? And then at number 3, I think we're going to finish it off with understanding that who you are says way more than what you do. Okay? So your mind is either your greatest powerhouse or a prison. And that's one of the talks that I actually had that I made. So your mind is literally this place full of troops that will either bully you or listen to you, depending on who is showing up. If you're going into your mind as a peasant, victim, oh, life is so tough, and get him, arrest this guy, he's an imposter, is this our leader? Forget that, arrest him. And then you get battered, bruised, you think, and things get way worse. You go in there as the person that's ready to light up the flames if need. You go in there as what's the name of this guy? I want to find it. I want you to go in there as Sung Jin Woo. King Leonidas. Spartans, never retreat, never surrender. King, wake up. That's not supposed to be your battlefield. This